All right, good afternoon, everybody. We're going to give it a couple seconds here and let everybody join in. Apologize for about a minute or two delay. Had to Control Alt Delete the webinar software. So I'll give it another second. I still see some people joining in. We'll give it about another 30 seconds. We'll get rolling. All right, well, I haven't seen the number jumping, so we'll go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Josh. I'll be taking you through the MzeroManage webinar, and specifically MzeroManage for the PMK or Personnel Management Kiosk. So it's March 3rd. It's slightly after 4 p.m. on the East Coast, and we'll get started. All right, so we're talking about the Personnel Management Kiosk, here too within referred to as the PMK. PMK. So what is it? If you're not familiar with the device, it is a temperature screening device. Basically, it's looking for elevated temperature, and it does so much more. But at the crux of it, it is a temperature screening device. So the idea behind this device is, let's say you just want to screen for high temperatures as part of your, get back to work, get back in the office, COVID relief plan, etc., so on. This device, as you can see here, pictures on the screen, it can be fitted on a pedestal, it can be fitted to a wall mount or a countertop version. So this traditional offering for the device is the pedestal mount. It is about 48 inches tall, about 35 pounds. It does feature our all handmade, extruded, and welded, powder coated with antimicrobial paint pedestal. So it's all manufactured here in-house in Aberdeen, North Carolina. Then we have our child height. So the child height is about a foot and a half, foot and a couple inches shorter than our traditional pedestal mount. Ideal for grade schools, preschools, children's hospitals, ideas, or anywhere where you think you're going to have quite a few shorter or vertically challenged individuals or children. I've actually heard from several senior day centers and nursing facilities that the child height ones are perfect for individuals in a wheelchair or some other form of mobility scooter or device that's very simple, very easy for them to kind of position themselves in front of the unit and get scanned without having to tilt or touch the head unit. So yes, the head unit can tilt up and it can tilt down. So if you're a very, very, very tall individual, you can tilt it back a little bit so that way it's aimed at your face. Or if you are shorter, you definitely can tilt that screen down and it can get a good capture of your face for when it's time to take that thermal reading. Pedestal with LED. So this is the same as our traditional height pedestal. It just has the addition of a ring LED around the section where the top of the pedestal ends and the what we call the neck, or in this case the half moon plate begins. So that sits at the top of the pedestal. Another feature to that LED version is it already has a built-in voltage controlled relay. So you actually have a relay that can give a voltage output that can be used for access control, really anything where a change in a voltage signal can be interpreted as some sort of do this, do that action, open a door, turn on a light, interface with a Raspberry Pi if we got any Internet of Things programmers and computer whizzes out there. And then, of course, last but not least, our smaller form factor models. That's the wall mount. So that's your temperature taking device can be mounted to the wall. Then you have the countertop version, which is very portable. It still features that nice extruded and hand welded and ground down and painted base that we make here in Aberdeen, North Carolina. It's just considerably shorter. We would say these are good for taking back and forth between multiple locations, whether you've got a front desk, a reception area, so on and so forth. And of course, the wall mount one goes without saying, mount it to a wall, it's up out of the floor. You've got more space and you're not eating up any prime real estate, like say next to a vestibule or entryway. So kind of a broad spectrum, strokes here. The temperature taking device, essentially, you do have the ability to use facial recognition. You do not have to use facial recognition. I've got some upcoming features, some changes, some news I'm going to share towards the end of the webinar. So I got some new things coming out on the Pmk horizon. So we're going to talk a little bit about Manage. So I'm going to take for granted that you're pretty familiar with this device taking a temperature, taking a surface temperature of somebody's face when they're standing in front of it. So I'm going to go over some of the I'm going to go over some of the features and more details for the device itself and how that pertains to Manage. So we're really focusing here is on MzeroManage. This is the cloud-based platform that allows you to connect this kiosk to it and then have some remote viewing, have some remote control over it, being able to adjust the settings, being able to see scans in real time as individuals are walking up to that scanner and having their temperature taken. It also works in conjunction with email alerts. If you need to get an email when somebody has an elevated temperature, you're going to have MzeroManage to receive that email. It does have to have MzeroManage cloud connectivity to get those features. So like I said, it's designed to work with the Personnel Management Kiosk, the PMK, and to give you one centralized location. Let's say you've got a car dealership, and you want to sell cars, you want people to be comfortable, you want everybody to be safe and distance and have their temperature screened, both for customers, employees, personnel, etc. So when I go to take my car for service, I know there's probably 20 or 30 different doors I can enter the dealership with, let alone the service department. So let's say you've got one at the front door by the main lot where the customers would walk through to maybe talk to a dealer or talk to the sales rep. You would have one at the back entrance where employees for the shop, the automotive mechanic technicians, can enter. You might have one up at the front where customers would enter the service-based service area, and then probably a couple more here and there at other exits and entry points. So you've got 6 devices and you need to make a change. So if you're familiar with the standalone units, there's a mouse and a keyboard that are shipped with them, and they're unique to each individual unit. So you would have to take 6 different mice, 6 different keyboards, and walk around to 6 different units in 6 different locations. You get the picture. So with MzeroManage, you've got one login, one dashboard to control anywhere between 1 to 100 to, I don't think we've had an account that has reached a limit on how many physical kiosks they have. I've seen some with well over 64, 65 kiosks working in sync with each other, and just one click, one stop shop, just to send down an update to them. So some of the features and capabilities that coincide with the PMK's features and MzeroManage, as I mentioned before, the device does have the ability to perform facial recognition. You can sit there and load people straight onto that device, standalone style, and one at a time come up, gather a couple pieces of information from them, take the picture, hit save, and on to the next one. So the MzeroManage cloud capabilities add a personnel database. So you actually would have a very simple user interface to upload your employees. So you take their picture, you could put a little bit of information about them, their age, their name, email address, and their employee identification number, what we call personnel ID or VIP ID. And you could enter that information into a database online, one place, and then every single PMK would be able to reference that face database and then make facial recognitions across your campus, across your corporation. If you've got a location in Texas and home office is in downtown, Detroit, Michigan, CEO can come from Detroit, downtown Houston, Texas, scan in, and still be recognized if those devices are on the same account. So it gives you the ability to control those facial recognition, to control that data set of employees for facial recognition. Logging a temperature. So the device in and of itself, it does take a temperature. It does have that surface temperature feature for the face. When you create what's called a scan event, when an individual scans in front of it and their image is captured or they're recognized by the device, it will create a log of that. So you'll be able to see which kiosk at what time, what employee, and a picture of them. So you can make sure Joe is Joe and Sarah is Sarah, so on and so forth. Sending alerts. I mentioned that before. MzeroManage. If you want to receive an email alert when somebody gets a high temperature, you gotta have MZero Cloud. Retrieving reports. You can pull the entry reports for today, the last week, a custom date period, 30 days ago. Gives you that ability to look at reports to kind of, filter out what you need. And then with one click, you can export that to a spreadsheet, and you can save it for archival purposes. You can use it to determine who entered before or after an individual for contact tracing, or maybe you're just somebody that likes to play around with Excel spreadsheets and databasing formats like that. It's up to you, but you've got a one-click button that you can get that report with. Yep, goes without saying, you can view the images and the temperature scans online. There's a dashboard, so every 16 scans or so it will rotate out. So you'll see the most recent 16 scans in real time. If you've got a really solid internet connection, both for your PMK and your computer, you can see those real-time scans in as quick as about a second and a half. I've done testing on slower networks. It might take 3 to 4 minutes. Same thing for the alerts. As soon as that scan can hit the cloud, it can do its processing. So you determine if the kiosks are online. If the kiosk, when the last time it connected to the server, was it a power off issue? Give you an idea as to maybe why I haven't gotten any scans, and it could be someone tripped over the Ethernet cable, or they changed the Wi-Fi password, and you can know, okay, this kiosk hasn't connected. And of course, changing all those in-app settings and configurations. You don't want to have 6 PMKs and 6 different physical locations. You're running around with 6 keyboard and mice, trying to track them down and remember what setting you changed on which one already and which one you need to go to. There's the ability to group kiosks together. This is really handy for permissions. So if you have multiple users that you need to have added to your account so they can view those scans, you can group those kiosks together. So let's say you group it by location, your physical location, state, so on and so forth. So as you get out, you can have a pretty good idea of who has access to what particular kiosk based upon what group they have access to. Again, my downtown Detroit, Michigan group might have 2 or 3 kiosks, and my Texas group might have 2 or 3 more kiosks in it. And Michigan doesn't need to see Texas, and Texas doesn't need to see Michigan for the most part, so I can separate permissions for viewing those scans and making those changes via the kiosk groups. And then last but not least, using the cloud-based solution, you do have the ability to turn off the local device storage. So it will not save any scan information to the device. It will immediately upload it to the cloud and then delete it off the local device storage. So if you are choosing to go the facial recognition route, there's a lot of information here, but there's a couple things I want to touch on. The biggest thing is the format of the photo, and I don't mean file format as in JPEG or PNG, portable network graphic, but they do need to be one of those too. I'm referring to the orientation. A lot of scanning issues, a lot of scanning delays can occur from being misaligned, not having proper orientation to the device. One of my coworkers, she's definitely not the tallest person here in the office. However, she walks up to the kiosk and it's not tilted down, and she doesn't pan it down, it has a hard time scanning her. That being said, the minute she gets it tilted down and within frame, it's half a second, and it takes her temperature, identifies her, and admits her into the building. So alignment, orientation, if you're having scanning problems, that's 9 times out of 10, it's one of those deals. Same thing for recognition issues. This character, or this model here, the character we're using for this model, if that makes any sense. This is how you want your pictures to look. Just take a good hard look at everything that you can see. I got my ear to my ear. I got to the top of my head. My chin in this example is definitely well exposed, and I can see the profile of the neck. One of the absolute first things that the unit does after it detects some sort of motion is it starts looking for the features of the face, the chin, the nose, the eyes, the neck, the ears, etc. You don't want your scanner just going off every time somebody walks by, or every time somebody, moves past it really quickly and it starts saying, hey, please face detector frame, and please stand still, take your temperature. It's looking for a real face. So This is a prime example. If you've ever done photography before, then you'll know about the rule of thirds. And you can see here, 1, 2, 3 lines, or 2 lines being divided into 3 sections. In this case, a grid of 9. That's what I want. I want this whole grid filled with eyes, ears, nose, chin, tippy top of the head. If you can get a little bit of the neck profile, that's perfect. We don't need the shoulders. It doesn't need to be like an old school classical studies Roman bust. It's neck and up, tip of the top of the head. Let's see, if you're doing a bulk upload, which is a feature of the cloud software, it allows you to gather all your employee photos and all your employee information ahead of time in a zip file and in a CSV format spreadsheet. And you can, in one click, upload the whole batch of people that need to be recognized by their face. And again, it's going down the list. There's a bunch of numbers here and things like that. If you're having issues with it when you're trying to upload, our help desk can most of the time look right at a piece of can look right at a spreadsheet or can look right at a zip file and determine within seconds, okay, this is what's holding you up. So we're not going to get too far into that. I will mention the better quality photo you feed the facial data algorithm, the more accurate your results are going to be. So our startup video resource library, we're actually working on a couple of scanning videos right now. I myself am in the edit bay, helping get some cuts made for the video. So definitely want to keep your eyes peeled to the video resource library that's available on our website under the temperature, temperature screening device or temperature screening kiosk. It's dead center drop-down menu on the website. You can't miss it. But yeah, so the video resource library, this will help you get set up, help you get started with MzeroManage Cloud, and it will certainly help you get started with getting the device up and running in some tests and usage scenarios. So I mentioned a little bit about the portal or the dashboard. So there's 2 different portals. The MzeroManage portal, manage.meridiankiosk.com. This is your more, I'd say, power user, super user. This is where you can add the kiosk, enroll it, confirm communication, or confirm that it has communicated with the server, pull some higher level reports, things like that. This is, I would say, most anyone who's ever logged into like Facebook or has done online banking, you can use this portal. I just say super user because it is geared more towards an administrative role. So you're not going to really have any pretty pictures or viewing scans. This is for diagnostics. This is for setting everything up. The personnel.meridiankiosk.com or the MzeroManage view is our dashboard portal. This is where you're making setting changes to the device. This is where you're seeing your most recent scans. This is where you're pulling entry reports. This is where you're onboarding employees. So that's your MzeroManage view portal. A couple things I want to talk about here. And I've got to grab my cheat sheet for the support packages. So with the purchase of a PMK device, physical or with MzeroManage bundled or not, you are entitled to your Monday through Friday support. So that comes standard. That's 8 to 5 and no holidays, no weekends, Eastern time. So 8 a.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Online, email, hotline, phone support that is available. We have a 20-minute training session. Now, the 20-minute training session is more geared towards physical use of the kiosk. So it's more or less walking you through scanning, any setting changes in particular, particular interaction with the physical device. That's where that 20-minute training session comes in. Now, the 1-hour onboarding session, that is encouraged, advised, double advised. Go back and encourage you 3 more times. If you're a new user both to the physical device and you're not quite familiar with cloud monitoring and setting up what they call the Internet of Things, if you set up your own Alexa or Google Home, you've got a foot in the right direction. But if you just want to make sure you've got it set up, if you want to make sure you're going through settings right, you want an hour of one-on-one, uninterrupted, no distractions, just you and a professional technician from Meridian to get on the phone, to get on a Zoom, Microsoft Teams meeting, and just go through that setup of that device with you. That is that 1-hour onboarding session. They are offered as bundles. If it's not offered as a bundle, you can purchase it separately, but push your reseller or your sales representative to get you that 1 hour onboarding session for all MzeroManage Cloud customers. It is worth it. It is worth it. And then we're going to go down to the service plan. So this is not only service for the physical devices, service and support. So your PMK Select, it does give you that online email 8 to 5, but it also gives you 60 minutes of after hours support. So that's weekends, weekdays, no holidays. And if for some reason you need to return your unit for a defect, if it's broken, somebody kicked it over, or if it has a RMA warranted process, you get free return ground shipping on that. Then we have our PMK Premium. This is basically the same as the previous package. Instead of 60 minutes of support, you get 120. So you're getting a full 2 hours of on the phone, online, email, help desk ticketing system, hotline support, and that's again weekends, weekdays, no holidays, and weeknights. So after hours, everything except holidays, and again, return ground shipping. Then last but not least, there's the Premium Plus. So the Premium Plus gives you that online, email, hotline, phone support, 2 hours of after hours support, including holidays and weekends. It also includes 2-day shipping and a 48-hour turnaround on any head units that need to be replaced, as well as a on-site tech visit. So if you need to have a technician come out and you've got Premium Plus, you just saved $200. It's a minimum charge of about $200 depending on your area for a technician to come out. So with the Premium Plus, you've already got that. You got a tech visit included in the whole deal. All right, so I promised I was going to talk to you guys about some new things. So new in the pipeline for the PMK, and I mean very new, as in just got feedback from our beta tester and one of our alpha testers that they like it, they love it, they want some more of it, is HID, specifically HID proxy point card integration. So as it stands right now and the way it's been, there's been limited compatibility against different card readers. So we're talking about a HID fob, or we're talking about an RFID card that might be for access control. So instead of using facial recognition, the employees, guests, whomever is scanning on the device would be able to scan an RFID-based badge, and that would identify them. So it would scan, it would check the server, make sure that's a legit badge, identify him as, hey, this is Jimmy. Jimmy could then take his temperature, and then in the system and say, okay, Jimmy has temperature taken. This was his badge number. This is the photo. This is the temperature, and keep moving on. So I wish I had some more things in relation to this that was kind of a standard offering. But just like I said, throwing some things out there. We are working on putting together a package for this. So existing PMK customers, it would be a little different. There might be some hardware exchange involved. Again, we're just the technology's there. Now it's how we can get it to you in a timely and efficient manner. So so coming up very soon, if you're a current PMK customer and you don't like facial recognition, or you haven't been using it, but you want some way to, identify the people who are scanning in, then this new HID, or I should just say badging in system, is gonna be the one for you. So like I said, it's coming. It's been tested. It's out there in the field at a couple locations. We'll continue checking on it, checking up with our alpha and our beta sites, and we hope to have an offering for existing customers as well as new customers coming in, that integration would be done here in the factory, right here in Aberdeen, North Carolina, and then shipped to you, ready to plug in, configure, hook up to your account, and go. Let's see. So there also has been some discussion maybe of having some additional features with it, such as the ability to maybe put, instead of a screensaver, some advertising. Maybe you're a public place or location, you want to put a special notice up there, things like that. That too is being discussed. It's kind of in a very early alpha stage of programming and testing. So again, we're focusing really on that access control part, because the access control part, or the actually access card part, would do away with facial recognition. There would be, if you're in municipalities or states or locales where facial recognition is a big no-no, then hold tight, because we're coming. All right, so I think there's already been a couple questions. I think I saw a couple pop up over here on the other side of the screen. So if you have any questions, go ahead and submit them now. And let's see here. All right, I will let a couple come in and I'll start answering them. All right, what about a mobile version? So if you're referring to a mobile version of the physical device, like something that's a handheld version, that has not been discussed. At least I'm not in the engineering department, but if it is, um, they have not told anything. We have looked, as if you're asking about the application, the login, we have checked with developers and the possibility of creating an iOS or an Android app. All right, survey questions. So you can have survey questions if you have a QR code that links to a survey. So a user could scan in, their temperature would be below the accepted threshold, it would populate a QR code. They could scan that QR code and be directed to a specific survey, such as the I think it's the three big questions that the CDC recommends. So you can get around that with a QR code. As to the reason why they're not directly on the device, well, limiting touch, limiting interaction, they are not a touchscreen device. So there would be no easy way for someone to answer those questions without touching a public device that multiple people have touched. Let's see. All right, well, that was the last of the questions. Let's see here. Give it about another 30 seconds or so. Maybe you're typing. If you're still typing, you're thinking, you're mulling it over, you're chewing on everything you saw here. So I'll give it another 30 seconds without me rambling on. And if there's no questions, we'll conclude for the afternoon. All right, I'll just check and see if anything else is coming in. Yep. Okay. Yeah. The new features. Yes. So we're definitely excited about it. I had a couple of active customers who had expressed interest in it, and let them know about the alpha and the beta sites and beta testing, and the both of them, both individuals I talked to said, that's excellent. Send me a quote. I'm ready for it. So that's good to hear. Like I said, there's a lot of access badges and card systems out there, and this would allow you to use those existing cards that employees are coming into the building with, and then being able to scan in that way. So I'll again give it another probably 15, 20 seconds, and if there's nothing else, we'll wrap it up for the afternoon. All right, so with a file badge now will work as well. Yes, as long as it is able to generate some sort of RFID signal that oh God, let me see. Actually, I think my headset will reach that far. I'll tell you what device we're using. Ooh, I can't read that small. It is an HID I-Class SER10. Now that's not the only one that's going to work with it. That's what I have over here in my test lab over here in the development center. So yeah, basically, as long as it has the ability to be read by one of those proxy point I-Class HID readers, and it will put out a signal that can be read and interpreted as some sort of numerical data bits, then it can work. Let's see. All right, I'll give it another few seconds and we'll go from there. All right, well, that looks to be about it for the day. I think we're still doing these once a month. So let me pull out the old handy dandy calendar here and take a look. So the next one will probably be on April 7th. Of course, we'll send out some reminders through our marketing e-blast. But everybody that joined today, thank you so much for joining. Good questions. If you guys have anything else in the meantime, if you're a current customer, if you're thinking about becoming a PMK user, please do not hesitate. Oh, we might have one more. We got one more coming. But yeah, so as that's coming in there, let's see. I think I got half the question. Something about allowing for legal signing, also the signing of legal forms, ADA, non-solicit. I'll let them finish that. Jose, I think I got part of the question there. Oh, yes, digital signage, yes. So the digital signage aspect, that would be, we already have a product called Interact here at Meridian. It's a digital signage. It is very much like a advertising / an interactive advertising tool. So there was some talk about perhaps putting what we call an attract loop on the devices, which would allow the customer to upload maybe a small video clip or a series of photographs that could be used as flyers or could be used as, hey, did you know? And that could be used for custom. That could be used for custom whatever. Like I said, that's the beauty of it. If that kicks off and that product comes out, that would be a very interesting avenue to go down. But all right, let's see. Okay, well, we are out of time for today. It's past 4:30, so I'm going to cut it off here. And thank you again to everyone who joined, everyone who asked questions. Of course, this is the place to do it, time to do it. So without further ado, I will let you guys have a good rest of the afternoon, and we'll catch you next time.